Hi fans, it's Alexia Patrick. I wanted to give you a little insight on my poetry for book one. Again, you can find me at Alexia Patrick L.L.C on Facebook. You can follow me there. I put a bunch of postings up in regards to my writings and also photos from ideas and sketches and stuff for my books until I can get them out to you guys. It's going to take some time. So bear with me for right now. All I have is YouTube. So a little bit about my book number one. I wrote this, like I said, I started my very first poem in 4th grade. Growing up as a child, I was always singled out. I was a middle child. My fellow classmates made fun of me a lot and did everything they could to put me down. So back then we didn't call it bullying, we just called it being kids. My home life wasn't the most flattering, and my friends were slim pickings, and I needed some other way to escape, to easily express myself. I had more questions and more emotions than most people did my age. When I was in 4th grade, my teacher, Mrs. Gallagher, introduced the class to poetry for the first time, and she began with limericks. I wrote my first limerick, and it was called Phil, as I have already read to you prior. And I was very proud of that poem. And it turned out that that year, Mrs. Gallagher told me that I had something special. And I picked up on poetry very fast, and I literally ran with it. My teacher was so proud, she actually read my poem to the class and said I literally hit a limerick dead on the nail. And believe it or not, from that point forward, limericks has been my favorite type of writing. I like how it flows. I like the sound of each tone when it rhymes. So that's why I chose limericks. Astonished at how fast I grasped, she encouraged me to write more, and the fact that I pleased my teacher also helped instigate my love for poetry. So I continue to write. I have haikus, and I write stanzas, and I write very long poems. I write poems that you can be used into music or even a rap song. Give a lot of props to Eminem, Dre, and a few others, you know. Everything just came naturally to me. As I got more into my artistic perspective, I became more descriptive in words, and I grew from them. The more into schooling I got, the more into poetry I also became, and I found myself writing more poems than stories. In fact, I found myself writing a composition notebook a year, if not every 2 years, of poems, and that's about 100 pages per poem. I found myself writing more stories and poems. My teachers explained over and over and over again that I really need to get into writing and I need to start taking writing courses. They also encouraged me to take writing to a whole nother level, so I did. I worked hard on my poetry, and I also tried my hardest to get my writings in perspective, so I learned the beginnings, the plots, the ends to writing. What I wanted to know was what people thought about, what other people thought about me, what other people thought about topics that were going on around me. And I also want to know, what did they read about, and what could I write about that I got from what they learned. And the most important thing is with my poetry is I want someone to say, she knows exactly how I feel. She hit it dead on the nail. So I did the research, and this is the very first book I wrote. It was called Who I Am and How I Feel. And from book one, we are going into book two now, called P.S. There's a Time for Everything.